Well, hello. I'm Adam Godbold, pastor of Faith Methodist Church in Marietta, Georgia. I'm also the pastor parish relations chairman for the Association of Independent Methodists. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Some of you are doing so via YouTube. Others are joining us via Facebook. Again, we thank you. In just a few moments, we're going to start what I'm calling a missions update with one of our AIM missionaries serving on the field. But before we begin this missions update, please do me a few quick, painless favors. No matter how you're joining us, please, first, like this video. Second, comment. Let us know you're with us and perhaps include where you're joining us from. And third, share this video with your friends. We want as many people joining us on this video as we possibly can. So thank you for helping us do just that. My friend Bob is an AIM missionary to Honduras. He and his wife, Rosa, serve the people of their community in a variety of capacities: school administration, teaching, pastoral leadership. That's just to name a few. Bob is also finishing up a master's degree through our beloved Wesley Biblical Seminary. If at any point you have questions for us, especially questions to Bob directly, please ask them in the comments section. Bob, I'm so glad we're having this mission update with you. Thank you so much for joining us live via YouTube and Facebook.
Wow. I've never been this technologically advanced. It's good to be here. Good to see you, Adam. You look a lot different than the last time I saw you.
I do. This visual is going to come as a surprise to folks, I think. Well, let's get started.
Okay.
First, please tell us, Bob, where you are in Honduras.
I am, it's in a little village called El Pino, but El Pino doesn't really exist if you looked on a map, it's not really a city. We're part of a county, I guess you would say. It's not called that, called El Porvenir. And if you look on the northern coast of Honduras, on a little strip of land that is between the Caribbean Sea and the mountains called Pico Bonito, is an area where we are. And it's mainly known for producing pineapples. A lot of the Dole pineapples you eat come from El Pino. We're surrounded on all sides by large pineapple plantations. And that's been the historical point where people get jobs in El Pino. El Pino has about 12,000 people, give or take. There's not been a formal census. That's my guesstimation of how many people there are. It is, like many villages in Honduras, very poor. The situation currently in Honduras, according to the Honduran government, is about 70% of the population is unemployed or underemployed. And that's definitely related in our community. Yeah, there are people who work out in the pineapple fields, but that's a small fraction of the number of people who live here.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. And again, folks, if you have any questions as we move through this conversation, share them in the comments, and we will field those as we're able. We've got Lindsay Jane, my beloved wife and producer extraordinaire, here running the computer for us. It's funny because she and I are both hearing my voice in the room, which is our makeshift dining room studio, but we're also hearing in the yes, David, I am chuckling at your comments that you're sending me via text while I'm doing a live feed. I am. So I forget where I was going. Oh, so we're hearing what's happening in the room, as well as an echo with maybe a half-second delay in our earbuds. And so it's taking a little getting used to on our end, Bob.
I'm sure.
All right. So you and Rosa founded and operate 2 schools, correct?
Not exactly.
Okay.
And that's a good question. What we did found the schools, that is clear. There are actually now 3, if you go by the technical Honduran division of schools, and each one has its own principal. And even though we all operate in the same place, it's 3 different schools. We have the pre-kindergarten and kindergarten, which is one school with its director or principal. We have an elementary school, 1st through 6th. And then we have what's called in Honduras a colegio. Yes, college, it would directly translate to, but it's really just middle school and high school. And that's currently goes 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Each year we add a grade. So next, God willing, next August, the 8th graders will become 9th graders, and we'll keep going through till they graduate, which they'll graduate in the 11th grade in Honduras elementary, or your standard primary school system goes through 11th grade. And then you really go to university. It's not called college, it's university. So and we're licensed all the way up through university. We just haven't got there yet. And we may not. We may finish with just high school.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. So please tell us why you founded these schools and when.
Okay. We are in the middle of our 6th year, so we've completed 5 years. The school started as a kind of a vision that I had for the kids in our little village where we were working in our church. The situation in Honduras is the education system, the public education system, is very, very poor. It's ranked as one of the lowest in Central America, which is the lowest in the Western Hemisphere, which is, we're the lowest anywhere in the world, basically, is the education system of Honduras. And but not every kid is in that system. If you're wealthy, if you're one of the fraction of the population that you're the son of a lawyer or your mother's a doctor, you get to go to a private bilingual school. And where education in North America, in the United States in particular, is a great equalizer. Anyone can go to a public school, succeed, go to university, and no matter where their family background is, can make it. In Honduras, it's not like that. It's a very clear class system. And so we wanted to, me and my wife wanted to give the kids in our little poor village an opportunity to succeed just like the kids of rich kids, the rich parents. So we started the school. It is a bilingual school, which means that, Adam, if you came and brought your teaching materials, you would find students who could understand what you're saying, because they have 5 classes a day in English. I'm not going to say that their English is like if they grew up with a mom and daddy speaking English at home, but they do read and write on grade level. We use the textbooks and things from the United States. They are on grade level compared to any kid in the United States. Plus, they also take 4 classes in Spanish. They take, of course, Spanish. They take a Spanish social studies class. They take a Spanish computer class, and they also take PE in Spanish. So those are where you learn both languages. Plus, of course, I get to teach them the Bible.
I was about to ask.
Yeah. Of course, I get to teach them the Bible, and so that is my role. My primary interaction with the children is as their Bible teacher. But I'm also the chief principal when there's a problem or they're in trouble. They end up in front of me or Rosa. So
now, when I was in high school in Pearl, Mississippi, it was our assistant principal who I think was the principal of discipline.
Well, there's like levels. If a kid ends up in my office, it's a pretty substantial problem. So it's usually handled before it gets to me. So all the kids in our school are on some kind of...
Well, tell us a little bit more about the school. How many students do you have? How many staff and faculty members are there?
Okay. The the school before COVID had 129, and we were scheduling another 20 to come in the next year. COVID really did us did like it did for a lot of the businesses and ministries in Honduras. Was very difficult, and I'm sure in the United States too. We had some kids we provided computers with our partners so that kids and internet so they could have virtual school during the COVID pandemic, which in Honduras is still in the situation we're in. We're still only going to school now 3 days a week, and we just started to be able to do that. So we were virtual for almost 18 months. And so we went virtual, but some parents, I mean, it was hard for me. I have 2 children who are in the school to make virtual school work for my 2 kids. And it was very hard for some parents, and they just couldn't do it. And so they dropped out. So we lost a good number of kids. We're now at 84 children and building back up. The situation for our kids is virtually all of them, well, not virtually, all of them are on some kind of scholarship. There are 12 of them that come from kind of middle-class families, and they pay a little bit. It's still about 20% of what the actual cost, if we divided the cost up between the kids. So we rely on donations from people in the United States to pay our staff. Our staff, unfortunately, is big, and it's. I wish I could make it smaller for economic purposes, but the reality is Honduras has requirements on what can be done, who can do what, and I have to live with those rules. And so right now we have 18 members of the staff, and that's because of the way teachers are licensed here. It's really, they like to keep teachers employed. So that is our situation. Most of what we get in funding goes to paying staff members, paying the teachers, paying the guards. Yeah, we have to have guards. I know that kind of may sound strange, but in Honduras, everything has to have a guard because we're in a very a difficult area, a place where crime does happen and gang activity is all around us. So we have guards as part of our staff. We also have a group of teachers who are actually studying at the University for Education, which, praise the Lord, is only about 4 miles away from us. So we are able to interact with them and get student teachers, which actually saves us a little money. But they're all excited because the young teacher is the one you want. That's the one that's all excited and have all the energy and also has the latest techniques and strategies. And so we benefit from being close to the University of Education.
That's interesting.
My wife is a teacher. I am a teacher. My wife also is the administrator and chief cook and bottle washer. She does all the kind of stuff that needs to be done or make sure it gets done. We also have a kitchen staff because one of the important aspects of what we do is make sure that the kids have an opportunity to eat. So some kids pay a little bit for their food. Other kids just get handed food. So.
Well, that brings up the next question I was going to ask you, which is you guys also started a food ministry, right? We did, and it's not as big as I'd like it to be. I wish it was more, but because a lot of people around us are very hungry and very in need of help. In my community, probably an average person makes a family. I should say, not a person, but a family, because usually if there's one person working in the family, that's a pretty good situation. Somewhere around $400 a month. And buying food is a major problem. It's becoming more and more of a problem as the price of food has gone up substantially in the last 2 years. So we do provide services to bring people that we have designated who are in specific need food. And I'm always hesitant to talk about that on the internet because I could have a lot of people asking for a lot more food because there are a lot of people that need it. But we have to limit the number to the number that we can actually support. So we supply people with bags of food, enough to provide most of their needs for 30 days. There is a limited amount of protein. That's really something we can't provide. And that's because
most of the people that we're providing food for do not have refrigerators. Okay, so there's very little protein. We give rice and beans, but as far as meat, which is eggs and chicken, is the primary meat products that people eat here. We can't really provide it because they need to buy it every day because they have nowhere to store it.
I lost you on my end, Bob.
Oh, okay. I started hearing children playing and running around, so I just kind of didn't know what to do.
Well, I'm still in Lindsay's earbud now.
Okay.
No, my iPad was having to reconnect to the internet all of a sudden.
Okay. But did you are all the people still listening? I see Christy is listening. Is there other people who are still listening?
We've got several.
Okay, great.
I think currently we've got 9.
Well, that's great.
All right. So we were talking about the food ministry.
Yep. I finished
before
that
I
part.
lost audio on my end.
Did they hear me? Did they hear me or did they not? How does that work?
Yes. And so folks, I believe folks were able to hear you the entire time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I finished talking about that. So
I suddenly was not able to. Hey, we've got Ted Johnson with us, pastor down in Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
All right. So tell me, how many folks does your food ministry minister to?
264 currently.
Okay.
It could easily be thousands. It's just a matter of funding.
Gotcha. All right. And I see John Ramey's with us. He's outside of Knoxville. Keep those comments coming, folks. And let me pause and remind you, if you haven't yet shared the video, share it with your friends. We'd love for as many to join us as possible. All right. So a couple of years ago, Bob, you also planted an AIM church in Honduras. Tell us a little bit about that.
The church is currently running somewhere around 60 when it's not raining. And I say that because we're in rainy season now, which is, and when I say rainy season, it rains for days. And when that happens, the streets get flooded, and Hondurans have an adverse reaction to rain. They believe if you get wet from rain, you are going to get sick. So like this past Sunday, it was kind of sprinkled, and I only had 29. But when it's a sunny day, it's a better crowd. We couldn't meet in our school building for a while because it was illegal, and we're still not totally out of those kind of rules about how many people can gather. But my house is in the middle of the barrio. It's a small little house surrounded by my neighbors, and so everyone comes to my carport, and we sit in there and hope that no one calls the police or that they don't drive by. And that's where we have church. So it's a lot different than church in Atlanta or in the Panhandle of Florida.
Yes. Now it might be a little bit like church in New York or Canada or maybe California.
We're kind of outside. Street dogs wander up to listen, and they come in and sit down in the middle of the congregation. So it's different, but it's a wonderful time to be with our congregation, and we definitely feel the Lord's presence. We see people's lives being changed, and it's exciting. I always look forward to when we have our church meetings. I look forward to everything, though.
I like that. So tell me a little bit about the congregation. What's the congregation like? How and you've told us a little bit about how and when you meet for worship. Do y'all do Bible studies?
We do Bible studies, not during rainy season. We just gave up on that. Yeah. We'll start back in probably the 1st of April. And Sunday school is on Sunday morning. the congregation is, and this is unfortunately just what is going on in Honduras, is I have very few men, not because the men are staying home. That's not what's the problem. The men aren't in the home. The truth is, in my area and much of Honduras, there are a lot more families that only have women in them because the men have gone to the United States illegally. Yeah. And we've had more and more of that happen in the last 2 years. Well, the last 12 months. Where there's been some of the kids that were in our school before the pandemic, their whole family has gone up to the United States. So some of the kids in our school are now in public school in the United States.
Okay.
We didn't have that problem earlier when another American president kept the border closed. But now we're seeing a lot more of that. And it really is a problem here because it creates a whole culture of homes that don't have men in them.
Yeah.
Neighborhoods that don't have men in them. So whenever we have our Independence Day parade in our little village here on the 15th of September, they always have me come to the front to be one of the old men of the community to walk at the front of the parade. I'm only 59 and I'm not really that old,
Bob.
But the truth is there's just not that many men.
Yeah.
And so they got to find who they can take. So they put the gringo up front. So go ahead.
So I imagine it creates more vulnerability, which probably perpetuates some violence.
Gang activities. Yeah. It perpetuates all kinds of social ills. It's really detrimental. Okay, to see the society that has this situation where people have left, a large amount of people, especially men.
Wow. So how are
to a lot of kids, I'm their dad, to be honest with you. I'm their dad or their granddad. And, they come and talk to me and play with, in my yard and stuff because there's no other man around for them
to watch over and protect.
Yeah. To relate to them. So.
Wow.
No, I'm not saying we don't have any men in our church because if they hear that, they'll feel bad. But no, we have a few, but they're not as many as there are families without that have no man in the house.
Yeah.
And the other problem, just while I'm talking about and complaining about immigration, is the other problem is the Honduran man gets up in the United States, he gets a job, he starts doing good, and he forgets about his family in Honduras and creates a new family in the United States. And so that has, he went up there to make money for his family, but then in the end, they are not being supported.
Wow. So it just kind of perpetuates a lot of the problems.
Absolutely.
Wow. So how are your people involved in the community?
Some of them help us with the food ministry. Some of them are working at the school. Some of them are working on visiting people that are sick. Those are the three areas that we go. We haven't done much in the prison, and that's because they won't let me go to the prison. So as the leader, I can't establish that. Prison in Honduras is very different than in the United States. There's a fence around it, and they push the criminal in. But inside, they're up to they're on their own. And we have a prison beside El Pino, and 11 people were killed there during the month of December. It's wow. It's just it's not like you got cells and there's guards walking around. The guards are on the outside.
Wow. It's that's a lot of prison violence.
Yes, because heavy gangs. There's two different gangs, and there's no one around to control things. So it's a lot different. And so I can't go in there because I'm not a Honduran. They're afraid that one group will take me or another, and it'll be a mess. So mostly we work with the sick in our community, and then the two programs, the school and the feeding program.
Awesome. So let me ask you, I'm sure some of the folks joining us might be interested in how they can get involved. Do you have a mailing list that folks could subscribe to? And if so, how?
Okay. The best way, because I'm in between changing, we kind of did this quickly. I'm in between changing from MailChimp to another company that's free.
Okay.
The best way to get on my mailing list is send me a personal email, and I will get you on there and I'll start communicating with you. My email is bob@revbobwood.com.
bob@revbobwood.com.
Yep. Rev is in Reverend. R-E-V. No
Yep.
periods, just revbobwood.com.
I think our much beloved producer is getting that in the comments, and it's up on the screen. Look at that.
Wow.
She's quick.
It's incredible.
She's quick. Yeah.
Incredible.
But
But that's the best way. If you send me that, I will get you on the email list. I'll start being able to communicate with you, and you can communicate with me. Always interested in answering questions. If you're a pastor of a church or a lay leader and you want me to do some Skype and explain what we're doing, I'd be happy to do that. And we want to be involved with the churches in the United States. I will be coming, God willing, to the AIM annual conference. I know some of the people listening are from AIM, and I would look forward to meeting y'all there. And I hope, God willing, that I will bring my son to AIM summer camp, and so that I will be around there if they let.
That would be awesome.
So,
well, look, I sent out an email to my church list, as well as a list that we've put together for our AIM Southeast youth and men's retreats. And I encourage folks to let me know if they want to be added to that list. And so I'll let you know, Bob,
okay.
if I get some responses to that email, to those emails, folks wanting to subscribe to your email list as well.
Well, the thing I want to really express is we're having a little bit of financial pressure on us. And that's because my teachers, we're in a socialist country.
Yeah.
Okay. So doctors, lawyers, everybody, there is a minimum payment prescribed by the government of what a person has to get paid. And over the last 2.5 years, I have good news and bad news. The 2.5 years is we've had a steady, continued support base that has kept us going. And that's wonderful. And missionaries love that. What has happened is our expenses have gone up on payroll 21%. And our electricity, which is a big, I should explain what electricity is here. Okay. Because I know
it's complicated there, isn't it?
It is. In Honduras, I'll use myself as an example. My little house, I live in a house that's about 1,200 square feet, nothing big. I have a couple of window unit air conditioners for the bedrooms. I have a refrigerator and lights, a gas stove. But as far as electricity, that's it. And my electric bill this month is $600.
Oh, wow.
And that is because most of my neighbors pay nothing for electricity because they just they don't put the meter in until the day the guy comes to read the meter. And so to make everything work, they've raised the price per kilowatt hour. And so it's really expensive.
Oh, wow.
And that's just me. I'm not talking about the price for the school, which the electric bill is huge and over there because we have a modern schoolroom. If you come and sit in our schoolroom, it feels like an American schoolroom. So I say all that to say expenses for the school have gone up tremendously. The pay for the teachers every year has raised 6.5% for the last 3 years. So we're looking at 20% increase in our payroll. So these things have put a lot of stress on us, and I would really appreciate it if you haven't supported us. We really need you to. If you are supporting us, please continue. And if God, by some great miracle, gives you some little bit of extra, it would be very helpful for us. I really want to continue with the school. The school is so important to me, Adam, and I want to explain why. I get to be with kids. As you know, being a homeschool teacher, I get to be with kids and become the most influential man in their life. Okay, because I'm with them from 7 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And I get to really work with them about what it means to be holy, what it means to be a follower of Jesus. And I really value that part of the ministry. I really think it'll affect our community and it'll affect our kids for Christ. And I think Pino will look different in the next generation than it does now because of what we're doing with our 84 kids.
And you're a stabilizing presence in the lives of those kids, which is going to generationally become stabilizing effect for the community, I would imagine.
That's what I'm planning for. That's what I believe. And that's why we want to continue the school and help it grow.
Well, look, folks, please, this is from me. Please seriously consider becoming a regular supporter of Bob and Rosa and their ministries they lead in Honduras. You can do so very simply. Just go to the AIM website. That's aim2020.com. Click on the bright red gift button at the top of the page. On the form that opens up, you can mark your gift to go to Bob in Honduras. It'll say AIM Bob Wood. And you can also customize your giving there so that it happens automatically on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on a yearly basis. In addition to you and your family giving personally, your church could consider giving sacrificially to the work in Honduras through Bob and Rosa, as our church does. If you're watching and you're a pastor or a leader in any capacity at your church, please prayerfully consider coming alongside Bob and Rosa. These ministries, they lead the people of El Pino by giving generously and faithfully to their work.
And I want to thank you, Adam and Lindsay, because y'all aren't just talking. Y'all have given to us every month through the AIM website for years. And we appreciate that. And your gift is changing lives and kids. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. We both say you're welcome. Our kids know that we support you guys because they pray for you guys on a regular basis and pray for the schools down there as well as the church. We try to keep them involved in that informationally, at least to the extent we're able. Sure. Well, Bob, let me ask you, if there were 3 specific needs that you could share with us this afternoon, what are they? And they could be repeats, just 3 real quick bullet points.
The first one I would say is prayer for our safety, because we do rattle feathers in our community as Christians in a world that is have a lot of gang influence, and we ask for protection. Ask you to pray for our continued protection, me and Rosa, and our children. The other thing we do need is the funding. Funding is at this point a critical element, and the big thing I really wish, and this is a big wish, a big prayer, is I wish we could get to a point where we'd have our own building and our own land, so we wouldn't have to worry about the future for the school. Yeah, because we're renters. I should explain that we rent our property in a school building, and so as a renter,
you have a landlord, and
every year, is it going to renew? Is it not going to renew? It's so those are the 3 things that we would like you to pray for and to continue to support us in.
All right. And look, we're probably going to have, I would imagine, dozens, if not hundreds of folks who watch this video after the fact. If you're watching, I can't encourage you enough. Go to the AIM website, aim2020.com, click on the red give button and give to Bob down in Honduras. That way you can make a quick, immediate gift. You can sign up for monthly giving. And then also, look, it's Tuesday afternoon. Meet with your boards tomorrow, Wednesday evening, if you have midweek Bible studies, and say, look, we've got some extra funds that we could give and make this one-time contribution, and maybe even looking at putting in a budget line item as a church going forward. I'm personally encouraging you to do that, urging you to do that. And I want to thank you all, those who have joined us live. Thank you, those who are watching after the fact, for watching, taking time out of your day to join us for this video, for this missions update. Bob, thank you so much for carving out time to meet with us. Know that we're praying for you. We believe in you. And we're excited to see what the Lord's doing through you. I know ministry can be challenging and tough. And I know that these days are unprecedentedly tough for you and your family, but we're praying for you.
Well, thank you, Adam, and appreciate that. I was wondering if any of the listeners had any kind of questions, if there is something they'd like to ask that we didn't
I'm
get
wondering
to
as
cover.
well. We'll keep this thing going. If folks do have comments, there's certainly maybe a 10-second lag or so. And so I'm going to keep rambling for a minute. If any comments come in, we'll field those. Folks, any questions you might have, share them. Lindsay, thank you so much for helping with the comments and with getting our little banners thrown up there as well and running everything and jumping in with extra sound in a pinch.
I know you mentioned the annual meeting. That's June 23rd to 25th.
Indicator, Alabama, folks. Don't miss it. It's going to be a good one.
It'll be good food. Guarantee you that.
Oh, yes. It will be. All right. I don't see any comments coming in.
Well, there's one thing I'd like to mention. I know in the past, people have often asked about coming to Honduras for a visit, and we would love everyone to come in the world. We haven't had visitors in several years now. The thing about coming to Honduras right now is just like everywhere else, you always risk the possibility of getting to stay with us longer than you had originally planned because of COVID. But Honduras is open and visitors can come. And we would love to have, if you want to bring a youth group or a team to just come and maybe do a vacation Bible school with our school kids or maybe help fix a couple of our poor people in our community's homes. There's different things we could put together for you, and we would love to have you come.
Awesome. Bob, thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam,
look forward
for doing
to seeing you soon. Let's stay in touch.
Yes, sir.
And I'll let you know if folks on my end let me know that they want to sign up for your mailing list. And blessings to you. All right.
All right. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate you and Lindsay putting this together. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye, folks.